Welcome back, everybody. It is time for part 3. Or at least I think this is part 3. Anyway, this is on to Chris now. MMORPGs. Chris was obsessed with World of Warcraft. Now, I enjoyed the game, and I played it a lot, but I might as well have been a fucking noob compared to Chris. He had multiple level-capped characters at home, and apparently dual-boxed his computer so he could play twice as much WoW, and pay Blizzard twice as much money to keep playing a game. I don't get it either, but I wasn't much of a PvPer. One day, I'm getting bored with my main character and decide to roll a new one to see what other classes were like. Cow Elemental Shammy was my main, and my screen name is still from that and watching too much Mighty Boosh at the time. That's a great show, too. I joined Chris's server, and I hesitate. It's an RP PvP server. Okay, nothing against RPers. I know a lot of them are perfectly fine, and just like to add some flair for immersion. It's the few outliers that go way too far. Yeah, those concern me. So nothing too exciting happens for a while as I start power leveling while Chris is in a raid before he can help me, since he's supposedly busy in a dungeon and I'm not in his group chat, and we're basically just using the /whisper function back and forth to talk a bit. Then I get this message. Shove it in deep, I want to feel it all inside me. So I send back a warranted, what the fuck? Yeah, turns out he was busy in town cybering with randoms for gold. This is something he does all the time, apparently. He only makes female characters because, and I quote, why would I stare at a dude's ass for hours when I could stare at a female's ass instead? Yeah, apparently went further than this. Chris also acts like a girl in real life too, to these other players to get people to give him gold and other items. I switched back to my regular server very shortly after telling him that server was a little too full for me. Chris on homosexuality. Given the last story, you'd think Chris would be comfortable with other people's lifestyles and orientations. No. He never understood why a character had to be gay in a show or movie. He hated all the gay movies out there because Brokeback Mountain was such a success. I asked him to name one other gay movie, and of course he had nothing. He claimed that he was so straight that he didn't even like shitting since it had to do with his ass and it made him uncomfortable. That's a lot of projection. He would constantly say horseshit like, I don't care if they're gay, but why do they have to be so obvious about it? And, why can't they just do that behind closed doors? Let alone other parts of the community. This is the reason why I broke up my friendship with him. We had gotten into many arguments about this topic, where I brought up then modern articles from science, psychology, and consensus information, but I was basically talking to a brick wall. Dude even went to the Bible for his bullshit, and that is a whole other fight, since the only religious beliefs he had was when it suited him. Eventually he was kicked out of the group because of this. He didn't seem to pick up on the fact that half the group was somewhere in the LGBTQIA+ community. I am pan, DM is gay, Jennifer and B were both bisexual, and the fight we had made everyone in the group uncomfortable because he was either talking about them specifically, or specifically about people the others knew and supported. Oh, he sounds fucking lovely. The bonus good thing about this fight was his shock when I told him I'm pan. Like all the so I'm straight crowd, he almost immediately spouted, so what, you wanna fuck me or something? I just stared right at him and said, if you were the last person on Earth, I would stick my dick in lava rather than fuck you. He got up and left, never to return to our group after that. And if he saw any of us on campus, he would huff and walk away as fast as he could. What a little man-child. The Mexico Incident. This is a quick one, but it shows more of his ignorance. Jennifer, Chris, and I were the only ones at the table. I was helping Jennifer study her anthropology terms she had written up on flashcards, while Chris was casually playing WoW as usual. I asked Jennifer, what is the largest indigenous group in Mexico? Jennifer is thinking about it for a bit, and Chris just looks at her. Come on, this is easy. Before he confidently declares, a racist term for Mexicans. Oh, I hope he was hit with something large and blunt. Now, something to know about my hometown is it has a very large Hispanic population. Like 45% of the population identify as Hispanic. Chris grew up in this area as well. He knew full better than to say a fucking slur like this. Fuck, most of humanity knows better than to spout slurs like that. Dude, what the fuck was about all I could get before a woman sitting nearby stood up and just bitch slapped Chris to hell and back. Beautiful. Full extension and full wind up right across his face, just below the jawline. Oh, glorious. She just storms off. Chris is in shock and didn't get what he did wrong before leaving for the day. What a fucking asshole. I am so glad that he got slapped, though. That's funny. Diet and health. Chris was a garbage fire when it came to his diet. In all my time knowing him, I don't think I've ever seen him eat a single piece of actual fruit or vegetable. His regular lunch was a bunch of hot dogs, no buns, dipped in seasoning salted mayonnaise. Oh my god, no. Yeah, you read that right. Ew. The fucker would carry a bottle of Johnny's seasoning salt, pour a couple of tablespoons into the top of a big old gob of mayo, and then plunge an Oscar Mayer into that terrible mixture before shoving it into his mouth. Other fine dining I've seen this mess of a human consume includes an entire bag of cheeseburger. A local restaurant had a deal for the post-bar crowd to keep their lines down. It's a fast food bag with about 15 cheeseburgers. He added Johnny's to every single burger. Pizza with actual mold on it. We pointed that out to him. He still ate everything aside from a few bites that had mold on it. He added ranch to it from the cafeteria. 3 huge microwave burritos with extra cheese added on top. I actually had to look these up, but there's something called the Bomb Burrito. Each one weighs about a pound, and while not the worst fast food, I wouldn't really recommend them, let alone 3. You see, this led to some interesting events with Chris. Along with his terrible diet, Chris also picked up other bad habits while at college. First, he started downing energy drinks like they're fucking water, and he just spent the last 7 days in the Sahara. He also started, quote, smoking cigars, because it's what men of class do. What he would do is buy a cheap 5-pack of cigars and stand outside taking huge drags whenever a woman passed to show how classy he is. And yes, I said drags. I enjoy a cigar from time to time, but when I started, I went to a smoke shop, asked a few questions, basically got help on how to enjoy smoking as much as possible. One of the key things is that an actual cigar is not a cigarette. You don't inhale them, rather you let the smoke move around your mouth and enjoy the flavor. Cigarettes and cheap stuff like Swishers have tobacco that's heavily treated and the nicotine levels are low. A cigar is hella potent, so you are not really fucking your lungs up, but you're introducing a hell of a lot of nicotine into your system, which can lead to dizziness and a whole bunch of other side effects. Why do I bring this up? Well, because to those who aren't used to nicotine, their system can sometimes have a laxative effect. Pair this with too much caffeine, 3 huge burritos of fiber and saturated fat, and you have one hell of a storm brewing. Get ready. Chris came back in after his post-lunch gentlemanly smoke and rejoined the group. I don't remember what we were talking about. I just remember him abruptly stopping mid-sentence with an odd look on his face. You know that confused head tilt dogs do? Well, mix that with a slightly squinted eyes and half-open mouth of the look that you know something bad is about to happen. There's a calm silence for a few seconds as the storm came blowing in. Cue an honest-to-God 15-second fart that turns sickeningly deep, liquid bubbling sound at the end. Oh my god! Oh god, was all Chris could utter before sprinting to the bathroom on the other side of the Student Union building. We're all freaking out because now we can smell and see the pool of liquid ass goop that is all over the seat of his chair and working its way down the legs, as well as the little puddles on the ground from each step that he took. It was like one of those old dotted line comics from Family Circus that was done by G.G. Allen. I believe that's where I'll wrap things up. Out of curiosity, I decided to track them down on Facebook to see if anything has changed, and I'm sad to say it's gotten worse. It seems that Chris's metabolism has finally given up the ghost, and he has ballooned in size thanks to his diet. He still tries to wear suits, but now they're a bit too small for him and just as ugly. He is also now a red pillar and supports the Proud Boys hate group. Oh, lovely. David has full-blown nice guy. He has a job at least, but that appears to be out of necessity since he has a couple posts bitching about how his mom is making him clean his room to an unnecessary level. Thank you for reading Moonhorse. I hope you enjoyed, or at least got splashed with some secondhand cringe after reading all this. I love your work, and I hope you're doing well, man. I loved this so much, I made it into a 3-part series. This was fucking incredible, and what a story to end on. I have no words for how incredible this was. Thank you so much for sending this in. Holy fucking shit. These guys, I mean, at first I was like, well, they're train wrecks because they're in college. Oh no, the train wreck continues to this very day. The echoes shall carry on for centuries, apparently. And no one will ever forget that time that he shit himself in the student union. What the actual fuck? Thank you so much for sending this in. And thank you all for watching. What the fuck? Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe because it fucks with YouTube. And I think it's funny. Also, I appreciate it. And if you would like to keep the lights on in this place, you can donate to Patreon, or you can buy something from the merch store, or you can do both if you're like 10 kinds of awesome. And if you have your own story, you can send it to r/Moonhorse Stories. I check it every day, so I'll see it there. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!